So, before I renew our library books, I figured I would take a moment and give a little review of the ones we took out this cycle. Okay, starting first with the classic A Frog and Toad book. This is Days with Frog and Toad. I would give this 5 stars. Frog and Toad are classics in my own literature experience. And if you're not familiar with Frog and Toad, it's so like this kind of style of like writing and illustrating just feels very like animism to me, like animistic, like very connected to nature, very like profound but also simple. And it's an I Can Read book, so they come in different levels. Okay, I'm just gonna read you the back. I Can Read books are widely recognized as the premier line of beginning readers, inaugurated with Alice Holmlund Minerich's Little Bear, illustrated by Maurice Sendak. This series has grown to over 200 titles that include mysteries, adventure stories, poetry, historical fiction, and humor. Featuring the finest authors and illustrators, I Can Read books introduce children to the joy of reading independently. And I can say this was the case for me. When I was young, we would read a lot of Frog and Toad books. My mom would read them to me. But also, we would get books that had like an audio that you could listen books along. So now there's books. So on YouTube, we watch a lot of books. But it's really important because when you're starting to learn to read, sometimes it can feel overwhelming. And when you're studying someone's literary experience, you don't want it to be overwhelming. You don't want them to feel like it's too much. So Frog and Toad, so awesome, so like just like iconic, legendary, as is Little Bear. Like, yes. Okay. The next book in our series this cycle was called String of Beads. String of Beads by Margaret S. Reed with pictures by Ashley Wolf. And this was really lovely. At the end here, it shows beads from all around the world. But it's a story of a girl and her like grandmother who were just like beading. And here she's talking about maybe the first like person who was beading. It's very good. We love a good story. We love a story that teaches us to work with our tactile senses and also that supports cultural integrity. The next book was number 39 of the Magic Treehouse series by the classic series by Mary Pope Osborne, Windy Night with Wild Horses. The kids go to Mongolia. Jack and Annie go to Mongolia. We didn't finish this one. We had like a reading like snafu this week, but that's a story for another time. I might renew this one or we might continue reading it, but what I've been doing for the Magic Treehouse books is my library has them all on CD and my car has a CD player. So what I've been doing is just getting these books on CD, and then when we're on the road, I just often will play the story books for us to listen to on the road. Not always. This cycle, I stopped at 2 of my local libraries, so this is from a different local library. I was perusing the shelves for the first time in ages, and I found there are 2 copies of Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston, and it stopped me in my tracks, and I went to pick it up, and I was like, oh my goodness, what a blessing. Now, I really feel like I couldn't remember if I was thinking of Mules and Men, or Their Eyes Were Watching God. So I didn't actually fully reread this cycle. I really mostly just didn't get the opportunity to do so. But also I don't know if I could handle Janie's heartbreak right now. There's just enough heartbreak energy right now. I don't know if I could stand it. Okay, now we also got, oh yeah, so see this cycle I got Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator I did not get a Mary Pope Osborne. I tried to switch it up. Not the most successful switch up, but that's okay. Because we did not finish this, and we did not finish the Magic Tree House. So, but that's okay. It's good. Now, shout out to my local librarian, because I was like, okay, this is what I told her exactly what I need, and you know how it is. She got me exactly what I needed. I was like, listen, excuse me, please help me find a graphic novel, which is an easy I can read book, because I need my son to get into a lot of the visuals of things. And I remembered that when I was a kid, there were like comic books like lined in the grocery stores, like Archie comics, like different comics, and then you have shops where people would like get X-Men comics and all this stuff. It would start with like Archie comics. I would always be seeing those comics for like $3, $2, and I'd be like, Mom, get me one. Mom, please get me one. Mom, please get me one. And like 85% of the time, she would, you know what I mean? She'd be like, okay, I'll get you this. But I realized that reading those comic books really, really helped me, because I love reading, but I also love drawing. I love graphic design. I love the arts. And so seeing all those visuals of Archie and Veronica and everybody, Jughead and what's Betty, and you know, it really spurred my interest in reading, because I was always like, what are these kids up to now? Like, oh my God, I used to have the illest collection of Archie comic books. Let me just tell you, my collection of Archie comic books and Nancy Drew books, you wish you knew about this. I did not collect Pokemon cards. I collected Archie comic books and Nancy Drew. Period. Call me Granny. Oh my gosh. So, this series is called Narwhal and Jelly. And it's got a bunch of books. One of them is even glow in the dark. This is literally the first one. It's called Unicorn of the Sea. Ben Clanton, aka Clantoons. Gotta follow the social media. Ben Clanton is a part-time merman. Love that. And a full-time author illustrator. He loves to make up stories such as Moe's Mustache, It Came in the Mail, and this one. Visit Ben at benclanton.com and seek more Under the Sea adventure at narwhalandjelly.com. A Junior Library Guild selection. So this book is so amazing. It's really beautiful. It's fun. The art is just amazing. And it's like that. It's like I can't believe, like, oh my gosh, yeah, graphic novels exist, and they're a great way to get kids to start reading. This book, can I tell you, my son had his tablet open, and I started reading this, and he was just like watching the tablet, watching the tablet, and he put down the tablet to actually engage in this book. So I was like, okay, Narwhal and Jelly, we're gonna read everything in the series. Okay, she also recommended this, and I was like, oh my god, I forgot about these youths. What's good with these youths? My youths. These youths, and what's the name? The Berenstein Bears. And the librarian probably was like, what the heck is this gal talking about? But anyways, another I Can Read comic. Okay, this one was so fun for us. And these I Can Read books are great because they show, again, just like levels. So this is like level 1, simple stories for shared readings. Mercer Mayer, okay? These little monsters, I used to get down with these little monsters. They were even earlier than Archie comics. Again, the Berenstein Bears, there's a couple kindergarten classics, okay? These are some of them. So this is called, and I Can Read Comics by Mercer Mayer. This one is called A Tricky Chick's Little Critter. And I just remember, I always thought this was so relatable because I'm the oldest sibling of my siblings in America. Not too much on me. And I have 2 younger brothers, but growing up for many years, I just had 1 younger brother. And so when I saw these just 2 siblings, I always kind of related to it, although I was the older sister, not the younger one. Not unlike Arthur and DW. So it was very relatable to me. So when I was reading this one with my son, you can see there's a lot of like the animal sounds like moo, hee, peep. So I had my son just reading these, and that really, really helped his confidence, because he was like, oh yeah, I can read. And he got really into the story, as did I. really fun, really vibrant. And this is another one, again, that's a series like that. So there's so many books that you can continue to read and find for the kids. And yeah, the series are great because they build like a familiarity, they build a confidence, they build a consistency. We love a good comic and graphic novel series, seriously. Now, this one, Llama Llama and the Bully Goat, I don't know what it is about probably it was just like the energy of the day. I think it was around the eclipse. But the day that I got this from my second local library, where I got Their Eyes Were Watching God, we did not really read these two books, which is a shame, but also we're just getting started because this one does have the audio stuff. So remember, I told you when I was young, what helped me read so much was like the kind of read along audio. And so I think that that's so cool, so kids can have that kind of time for themselves. It's a very different era than when I was coming up, because when I was a kid, obviously, like, iPads were not invented, tablets were not invented yet. Like, literally, they did not exist on planet Earth. So we had a very different kind of attention span. And I guess I'm going to talk more about this. I'm going to like finally raise my voice. Yes, there's more of us millennials out here. Okay, we exist. But, you know, because the attention span was so different, I just think it is a different era. And I don't want to get too into it right now because I'm conscious of the time that I'm under, but everywhere I look, I'm seeing these stories of like kids in class, they're just vacant eyed, they're just focused on the tablets, they want to go home to the screens. And I let my kid have screens 100%. Like, yes, I do. And it's really intense because it's like, once kids have had access to like the screens and how fun they are and how unending they are and limitless, they don't necessarily want to go backwards. And this can feel like moving backwards. And so you have to start from here. And if you don't have that it's just strong discipline and willpower in this day and age. So shout out to all the parents. We're amazing. Okay, we're doing our best. We're crushing it. You're doing a great job, parents. Okay, some of y'all guardians. Okay. But yeah. So the first book that we read out of this group of books was called Zoo in the Sky. And I don't want to spiral into negativity here, so I'll stop myself. But there's something here at the end that talks about nuclear power, and I was so disappointed and disgusted. Like, it said something like clean energy, like nuclear power, and my throat like closed off, like my voice choked in my throat, and I was like, how could they say this? And I mean, it reminded me that a lot of y'all don't know about how dangerous radiation is. And that's on me, because I stopped talking about it. So, there is no safe dose of radiation. Nuclear power is not safe. But anyways, this book was so mystical, so fun, so magical. You see the stars shine. So this is the constellations from like the southern sky. And so one of the best ways that I started my son's education from birth was just by incorporating planetary knowledge, just always putting on little videos of the solar system. I had some wall decals in our old house, some stickers of all of the planets in order so he could see them, learn their names. They glowed in the dark. And I feel like yeah, that's been such a great basis for like understanding who we are and where we are and stuff like that, and just given him an interest in science and mathematics. So I'm very proud of myself for that. But plus it's so fun to study astronomy and everything, the constellations. You know, you can really do so much with that. So my son has known the names of the planets since he was like 3 years old, and this I thought was so cool, because it shows again the constellations from the southern sky, and it's so beautiful. And just right, like I reading this kind of size book with my kid just made me feel so happy and nostalgic, and just like it was great. It was a really great story. So I do have one more book, but I left it at home because I promised my son I would read it to him again today. He wanted me to read it to him last night, but I told him I would read it to him today, and we would just renew it or return it late, so we could read it again. But those have been the books, 99% of the books that we took out for this library cycle. So thank you so much for watching the reading review. We'll see you the next time. Happy Aries season. Welcome to spring. We're here with a beautiful spring rain, which is just so enjoyable, and also reminds me that in the next few weeks we're gonna see just popping colors of flowers blossoming everywhere. You know, already the birds are all out and singing and everything, so it's really a wonderful season here in Massachusetts, here in New England. So cheers. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you the next time. Happy Friday.